Okay, guys, welcome to Google Analytics, your eyes and ears on the site. So, what is Google Analytics? Google Analytics is a free software provided by Google, and what it does is it basically tracks your web traffic, activity on your website in detail. It's essential for measuring what is happening when people come to your site. When most people who have their own website, small business owners especially, have no idea what's actually happening. You know, Analytics is your window into this behavior. Now it can get really technical, and as you get a job and as you dig into this, you're going to learn more and more. But we're just going to start you out with the very basics, because honestly, I really don't know analytics that well myself, and I've been working in this field for 5 years and getting paid really well. But analytics is all about measuring data from different angles. It really is a lot like in Minority Report, where Tom Cruise was like moving the screens around and stuff. You can, understand your visitors from so many different angles. But you know, this is what the dashboard looks like from just from the basic side of things. You're looking at things like how many people actually came to the website, how many visits did you have, how many pages did the average person look at, how much time did they spend on your site, what percentage of people were new visitors, um, and where did they come from. That's a very important. So I just wanted to, before I go into anything deeper, I just want to say, like, when you're starting out, whether it's your own website or you're working with local businesses, like local business sites, like let's say it's a dentist or a lawyer, the analytics is not going to be won't be too complex, because really it's people aren't doing much on the website. They're just reading stuff. Oh, I want to see this lawyer. Maybe they submit a form. It's very simple. Where analytics is really important and what you're going to get into, so it gets a little crazy, is with e-commerce. So if you were to look at the analytics for something like Best Buy, right? This is like 1,000-page website with all sorts of shopping carts and coupons and checkouts, and they're running thousands of ads. That's when analytics gets like really intense, and when there's courses on how to handle all that data. And you'll get into that. But for now, we just need to understand the basics. So the basics, like I said, this is your dashboard, and just understanding the mechanism of analytics. Basically, they give you a tracking code, and it's usually done with a header, or a plugin on WordPress, and that just means it puts code on every page of the website. The header in web jargon, in web coding, the header is whoops, let's go in here. The header is it's a piece of the code that's basically universal, so you can put it in one spot and gets put on every page in the entire website. Actually, just to show you what it looks like, and you can go to most websites. And by the way, you should get Google Chrome. It's my favorite browser. You just right click and click View Page Source, and you should get used to this, because I don't program in HTML very much, but I understand certain things, and you're going to be looking oftentimes at actual code. When you right click and you select View Page Source, you will see the actual code for the pages, and you can do a search, and I can just like go find, just type analytics, and there's the analytics code that has been put into our site. And if you look at like even in Best Buy, like I can right click View Page Source, and this is, by the way, this is Best Buy's code, and look at how cool it is. And I put analytics, and they, let's see, they're using some other type of JavaScript, but whatever, you can see this is where their analytics stuff is. So anyway, whole point of that is not to get into coding. You should start to get familiar with and just curious about coding, just because it will come into play when you're a digital marketer. But you put it on every page, and then Google can track and measure stuff. So, like AdWords Analytics was designed by super nerds, as such, it's very powerful. It's not so straightforward, but I'm going to help make it a little more straightforward. And analytics skills, just understanding how analytics works and how to apply it to your ad campaigns and your SEO is going to make you very valuable. It's very powerful for employers. So this is actually, I have a few different analytics accounts. This is the analytics account for my this is my homepage, and I have a lot of different, you said, these are all my analytics accounts. And when we get to the practice section, I'm going to show you how to actually set one of these up. So I just want to give you a quick navigation of analytics. And you know, when you're going to add one of these, you're going to create an analytics account. It's free. It's just like creating a Gmail account. You have your home, your reporting, and that's where you sort of see all of, this is where you're going to spend most of your time. Customization, I'm not going to get into that, and admin. And this is, I know there's a lot of things here, and you'll eventually learn what all these are. But when you do set up a new account, you're just going to go to create a new account, and it will create a new little tab here. And then, like, let's find, this is my client Buck Steel. I just click on new Buck Steel site, and it loads up all their analytics data. So they've been tracking data for a long time, and as you can see, I'm going to collapse all these. Let's look at it. You know, there's a lot of different buttons, just like with AdWords, but let's just break it down to its simplest components. You know, you got your sessions over here. So this is like the overview page, right? Sessions, that's the total number of, you know, that's the times people actually engage with the website during this time period. And here's your time period. And you can, of course, change, you know, the time period. You can also click this button, and it will compare your current time period to a previous time period, so that you can, you know, this is why they call it analytics. You can say, hey, we had, look, 8.61% more sessions. We had a 45% longer session duration. That's awesome. And that's where you're going to end up running reports and learning a lot from your data. So users, we had 4,763 users. We had this many page views, pages per session. These are really the most important metrics, and that's all I'm really going to want you to understand from what I'm going to teach you, and before I send you off to another course. But like the three most important metrics, basics, is going to be, see right here, which is pages per session, time on site or page, and bounce rate. And those just really let you know how long people are spending on your site and how they're engaging. Pages per session is important because if you have a site like ours, you know, like we have a lot of content here, and obviously we do want people to submit this form, but the fact that we have people spending, you know, going to about 4 different pages means they're engaged. You don't want this number to be like 1 typically. And also the session duration is 3 minutes. That's really good too. You don't want that, if it's like 5 seconds, that means nobody's really paying attention. Bounce rate. A bounce is if somebody comes to the site, looks at one page, and then leaves. So sometimes you'll see like a really high bounce rate on a web page, and a high bounce rate is where you go, that's like a warning sign. You know, time on site or a page, if it's like 0 or like really low, that's a warning sign. And if pages per session is low, that's also not good. Now I'll actually show you on my, I'm actually going to go back to my, this is my film school site where I just get organic traffic. I don't pay for traffic. And you can see my bounce rate is 82%, and my pages per session is 1.47. And frankly, that's not that great. Now, this is all free traffic, and I don't really pay attention. So, but I could be, this basically says to me I could improve this a lot. And we'll get into that a little bit more when we're talking about content and the actual website. And actually a little later in this video I'll talk about that. But let's go back to the Buck Steel one, because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the rest of these functions here. So all this stuff, shortcuts, real time, really audience is important. And in the course I'm going to recommend, I just want to let you know, I mean, you can see geographically where people came in from, what kind of browsers people are using. But the big things that are important are acquisition, because you want to know, like, where are people coming from. So I should change this to really, I'm going to take that off, because out of the measurements, that's the most important. But the other thing is, you know, where are visitors coming from? Are they coming from Google? Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from directly to the website? You know, you can see here, most of our traffic comes from our paid search, then organic, and then we don't have much social media traffic at all. You can see, and we're going to get into that, you can actually connect your AdWords and your Analytics account. But that's something we'll be doing when we actually get into the execution. So you can see, you know, where's your traffic, where are your visitors coming from, and then the fifth thing is, you know, what pages are they looking at, and then how long are they spending on them. So over here on behavior, you can actually look at your site content, and I can see which are my most popular web pages, and what's the average time on page, what's the bounce rate, and how many page views and things like that. See, we notice, like, most people seem to go right from our home page to our specials page. That's the second most popular page. It also has comparatively the longest, you know, time on page. So that says to us, hey, that's where most people are going. Let's make sure we have our best information on that page. And that's just a quick example of how you use this data to make changes to a website. Let's see here. Just really quick. So this is our home page. And then this is where people click over to, because they obviously want to save money. So people spend the most time on this page. And actually, I'm going to realize that I should actually have some more call to action at the bottom here. But if you go to one of our price your building page, see price of building, see how the time on page is 30 seconds? That makes sense, because there's no information here. All you can do here is fill out your information. So it makes total sense that the time on page would be much less. Same thing with this other price of building page. So, you know, the bounce rates on these are pretty good. You know, we're 29%, 19%, 6% on this one. You know, this is all pretty decent behavior. Let's see here. Now, if I want to go back to AdWords, and this is what you're going to be doing when you connect AdWords with Analytics, it's really awesome, because now again, if you're managing you know, like a really small website, someone with a 4-page website, there's not so much this data is going to do. But what you really want to see is, are people reading your content? That's really the question. Are people reading the web pages, or are they just like, I don't like this, I'm leaving? You know, is your bounce rate through the roof? And that's really those are, they said that those are the big things you want to look for: pages per session, time on site, bounce rate, and where are the visitors coming from, and what pages are they looking at, and how long are they spending there. Now I can go over here to campaigns, and I can see, you know, all the campaigns, and these are the old campaigns from before I made changes, and I can see that, you know, my the metrics and the behavior for all my campaigns. I can see, like, the Florida campaign has got like a 46% bounce rate, 3.12 pages per session, which isn't bad. And I can organize this by, you know, search queries, hour of day, all sorts of different things. And I'm not going to get too much into this because in the course you're gonna take, it's another course by Corey. He's going to teach you a little more about that. We also can connect with SEO, and we can see the search queries that are bringing people to the actual site. Now, the last thing that's really cool with analytics is what we call goals. Now, goals are things you can set. Now, we had one which is, we had a goal just like conversions. You know, just like we have conversions and converted clicks here, we were measuring the same thing with analytics. And one of the things we could see, let's see here, you know, we could go to AdWords, click this, and we could see our conversion rates here using the goal. Now, a goal is similar to a conversion, but it's really, it can be it can give you a lot of information. Okay, so a goal can be if someone reaches a page like a thank you page, if they fill out a form. It can also be time on site. So a goal, if you want to just, you know, if you want to basically count the number of times someone spends 3 minutes on the site, that can be a goal. If you want to do page views, count the number of times someone spends, someone looks at, you know, 4 pages, that can be a goal. And these are all, again, different ways of measuring user behavior. You're like, hey, we really want people to stick around on the site. They're leaving too fast. We just want to get people to stay on the site. Boom. Same thing with bounce rate. There's a lot of different ways that you can create goals. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that now. I just wanted to show you, let's see here. One of the coolest things, so we're going to get into all this when we actually do the setup and exercise part, and also in Corey's course. One of the coolest things is the funnel visualization, which I don't have set up because we're not doing e-commerce. But when somebody's doing selling stuff online, like with Best Buy, they definitely have this function enabled. It actually will take all that data and it will show you like how many people looked at the cart, how many people started to check out, and how many people actually bought something. And that's where there's a whole school of analytics all about shopping cart abandonment. So again, when you're starting out, you may not have you're not going to have $100,000 a month client, but just learn about these concepts, get into analytics, just start getting curious about it, and you know, you're just going to be way ahead of the game. So before I send you to the next course, I wanted to just show you a little more. So Film School Secrets. So this is my organic blog where I give away free information about the film business, and I also get leads for my film training program. And so this is the blog itself. And if you look at I'm going to use this as an example a few times because the site, like I said, it's got a high bounce rate, but it still gets organic traffic even though I haven't made an update to it in like 2 years. I really don't touch it very much, and I probably should. I can look at, you know, acquisition and see most people are coming in through, let's see, this is telling me that everybody's coming in through English, speaking English, which is a good thing because it's written in English. Let's see, why is that happening? So you're going to see that there's a lot to all of the buttons here, and all there's reports, there's segments, there's ways to look at all this data. I'm not even going to get into all that. I just wanted you to understand the very basics. Here's what I wanted to do. Acquisition. So, you know, most of the people coming in are coming in through organic search, but what I like looking at is the pages on my website. So one of the cool things is that, yeah, my bounce rate's high, but some of my pages have long time on page. Like this one, 8 minutes. And this one's got 5 minutes. And I'm going to show you when we get to SEO why that's a really important metric. But it says to me that people are reading my stuff, but then I'm not giving them enough reason to click on another page on my site. And if you look at my articles, let's see, did I change this? It's like this is one of my articles that has the 8-minute people that people are spending. No. That is not what I thought it was. There we go. This one here is one of this. I'm going to be using this as an example in the SEO unit. So this, people spend 5 minutes or more average on this. That's very high. And at the end, I have this capture form, and I do get leads from this page, but I don't have them clicking to another page. Now, if I had them click over to another page, then this bounce rate would likely be much lower. But again, that's an example of modifying site content, using data to modify site content and achieve goals and reach what they call KPIs. You're going to hear the term KPI, which is a key performance indicator. And it's a fancy term for like a goal. And I mentioned that a couple times coming up. But basically, it's just about using this data and all this fancy stuff to make changes that make your client more money. So here's the thing, guys. This is why this course is different from all the other courses. I was watching some training videos that were free, and they're very good on analytics. But your brain is ingesting a ton of stuff right now. Okay, so analytics, I put it between AdWords and SEO. That's necessary because you got to learn what analytics is and what the function is. And like I said, I still only have a very simplistic understanding of analytics, and I've been working in the field for 5 years. So that's it. It's all about what's practical. So everything I just explained to you for now is going to be good enough, because this is the Goldilocks school of training. I don't want to give you too much information, and I don't want to give you too little information. So here's the reason why. With AdWords, you can go crazy, get nerdy, geek out. I want you to read the Perry Marshall book. I want you to take the course, Isaac's course. Just get AdWords, get crazy, become obsessed with AdWords. Now, with analytics, you could do the same thing. There's so much material and so much to learn. You could, and I do want you to get certified in analytics. However, analytics is super important, but it's not the money skill. If you apply for a job and you know everything about analytics, but you don't know anything about AdWords, you're probably not going to get hired. Same thing with SEO. You apply for a job on SEO and you know everything about analytics, but you don't know SEO, you're not going to get hired. So I want you to really get into AdWords and get into the next section on SEO. But for analytics right now, check out some of the articles, read about it a little bit more, get the general idea, but don't dive into it. Don't get crazy with reports and segmentation and flipping data and all this stuff. Because first, the other reason is the accounts that you're working on, a lot of the accounts that you will have when you go out and you find a local business or something, they're gonna be small accounts, and you're not gonna need to be analyzing and resegmenting thousands of visitors. You might have a person that only gets 100 visitors a day to their website. Now eventually I do want you to get into this. I want you to get certified, but I'll get into that later in the course. This is something, when you go through the course a second time, this is something I'd say get into it. Once you've already feel like you got AdWords, once you've actually built the AdWords account, once you've gotten SEO and social and you understand how everything works together, once you're already out there looking at jobs, then really dig into analytics and get that. This is the final notch. This is the feather in your cap. The basics of it is essential because you do need to know what's going on the website. But when you come over to a course like this, and this is the course I recommend, Google Analytics Mastery. This is a great course. It's the most in-depth one I've found. It's 11 hours of training. And he does start with the basics, but he's going to get into creating goals and metrics and geography and blah, blah, blah. And I'll talk more about this in the practice section. But for your practical purposes, when we set up analytics in the practice sections, that is enough for now. That is going to be good enough. Because basically, I'll be teaching you what I know. And analytics is not my strongest suit, but again, it's been enough for me to work steadily for 5 years and make good money, and that's what we care about. We care about what's practical, right? So I'm gonna, the resources are here. This course, the link to this course is here. Some articles are below, but everything you just watched plus those articles, understand what analytics is, what a goal is, what time on pages and stuff, how it works with websites, and you are golden. So that's it for analytics for now. Again, once you've gone through the course a second time, take the mastery course. You'll learn stuff I don't even know about analytics. But for now, this is going to be good enough. I will be talking about analytics again throughout the course. But right now, let's jump right into SEO, search engine optimization. Even if you're going to be a paid search person, it's good to know the stuff about SEO. And frankly, I love SEO. SEO involves strategy. It involves creativity and writing. It's crazy. It's like the Wild West. It's nuts. I love it. So let's go to the next section on SEO, and I will see you there.